When we are fiscally indisciplined,
President John Dramani Mahama has revealed he is under pressure from some members of his government to dismiss Finance Minister Osei.
People have been used to the bad old ways for so long that it's very difficult to change their attitudes to see what is happening. I mean, several times they've interceded with me to sack Seth because he's hurting the politics. He doesn't understand the politics.
Every 4 years, political parties in Ghana comb the entire country to solicit votes of Ghanaians to either become members of parliament or the #1 gentleman of the land, the presidency. But after winning power, do our politicians work to better the interests of the country or their various political parties? This is today's big story, and my name is Bright Nanamse. Now, speaking at a courtesy call on him by the new managing director of Barclays Bank Ghana, Patience Achienu, at the Flagstaff House on Wednesday, President Mahama said there are calls for the dismissal of the finance minister as a result of the many reforms Mr. Tekpe was introducing at the finance ministry that are against the traditions that have been in existence at the ministry over the years. But President Mahama was irresolute in his support for the finance minister.
When we are fiscally indisciplined and we create a situation where the deficit goes up, inflation starts to rise, interest rates start to rise, then it affects them adversely. And so sometimes, not really due to their fault, they do government contracts, they do work for government, and we fail to pay them on time, and the banks are running after them, you know. So it's a vicious cycle we need to break, and that is why a lot of the reforms that Seth is carrying out in the finance ministry with regards to the gift miss and making sure that we budget properly and make sure that the MDAs follow budgets, discipline, and all that are issues that we're trying to introduce. But people have been used to the bad old ways for so long that it's very difficult to change their attitudes to see what is happening. I mean, several times they've interceded with me to sack Seth because he's hurting the politics. He doesn't understand the politics, you know. If there's no money, you should go and borrow. As if it were that easy.
And the president told his guests that he is under pressure to sack his finance minister. Now, the chairman of the Barclays Bank board, Mr. Charles Alexander Kofi, also told the president that they have been hearing similar reports of the finance minister was holding the purse strings. Let's listen.
We know the difficulties he's facing. We hear the comments that he's holding the purse strings, he's not allowing the economy to flourish. So, I know him. I'm not sure if I agree, but, you know, but that is the average man's view.
That's right.
This man is not allowing the economy to grow, and like you say, he doesn't understand the politics. He's bringing the government down.
Yeah.
But that acknowledgement, you know, that acknowledgement is that, look, I'm aware of this issue, and in due course we'll look at it. It gives us hope. Yeah.
So today's big story, we'll try and speak to governance experts, we'll speak to political parties and find out when political parties win power, do they work for the interest of the country or they work for the interest of the various political parties? Let me first of all speak to a governance expert. He is the executive director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security, David Agbe. He's just joined me on phone. David, thanks so much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Now, first of all, let's look at this. the president is under pressure from members of his own party to dismiss his finance minister. The reason is that the finance minister is working not in the interest of the political party, but in the interest of the country. Is this good governance?
It is actually a good governance, and we all need to appreciate the fact that Honorable Setekpe is a man of originality. He comes into politics with objectivity, and we need to really appreciate that fact that, in a normal local politics that we do, many see politicians as people who appeal and often deceive and deceive the masses and try to obviously, manipulate them by, singing to a certain phrases here and there. But this man comes into that office as a man of originality. He sees things in that objective manner. And I think that those are the people that we need them to manage, our public affairs, our affairs. And for that matter, I think that the political parties, or for that matter, NDC as a political party, need to be careful to play the game as looking for a common interest of the country, and to that extent look for a long-term effect of the country in terms of political management or political management of our pairs, rather than the short-term measure which will not benefit the country.
Now, if members of the president's own party are asking for the dismissal of the finance minister because they think that he is not working in the interest of the party, does it suggest that political parties then come into power not with the interest of the country at heart?
To a large extent, that is what we are seeing in Ghana, and more to the point, in the African sub-region, that most of the politicians or most of government comes to power not to work in the interest of the country, but work in the interest of individuals. And therefore, that is not good governance at all. We need to actually discipline ourselves by coming to power to work for the nation, and then the nation also pays us. But here is the case: everybody is looking for his common interest rather than looking for the common interest of the country, which is the much prominent one that everybody should focus on. That am I into politics only for my common interest, or I'm going to work for the interest of the generality, for the common interest of ordinary people, around. That is why we all, subject ourselves into democracy. So when we understand that democracy is a governance process which is for the common people, we need to also work to benefit the common people. If not, then we are not into democracy. Democracy is about working for the common people. Common people in a sense that those people who are downtrodden are the people who needs to benefit from democracy. It is not for people who are well endowed already, but democracy is there for the interest of ordinary people, the deprived communities, people who do not have much to do. That is where democracy belongs to. But it is not for people who are well endowed already. They have all the things at their disposal. No. Democracy is for the common people, and therefore, if we have a minister of finance who is working towards a long-term interest of the country, we need to exercise a bit of patience, and that is what is lacking at the moment. We can all, anticipate some of these things, because Honorable Setekpe is not being seen as a real politician who always try to manipulate, who always want to do pure propaganda. He's a man he comes into politics with that sense of objectivity into governance. And
right.
Those are the people that we need to applaud.
Right. David, thanks so much for speaking to me, Executive Director of the Center for Security. Let's speak to Mohammed Atik. Mohammed Atik is a policy analyst with the People's National Convention. Mohammed Atik, thanks so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, first of all, the president has confessed that he is under pressure from his own government to dismiss his finance minister. Is it a show of no confidence in the presidency?
Thank you very much, and let me say good evening to our cherished viewers. And forgive me for my voice. I've had to make a lot of noise this morning.
Go ahead.
I think that what is happening is a reflection of a certain subculture that has crept into the Ghanaian body politic, which is, in my opinion, very dangerous. And that is, people make assessments of ministers based on how well they are willing to compromise standards, how well they are willing to compromise, lay down procedures for people to benefit. And when we talk about that, a lot of people tend to think that those who promote patronage or politics of patronage are the best performers or are the best ministers that you can have. And in doing so, they forget that performance is not based on how well the person is able to satisfy selfish partisan interests. But we do assessment of performance based on certain targets or certain specific targets that whoever is employing you has given you.
Right.
As a Minister of Finance, I'm sure when he was assuming office, the President told him that we have to deal with the situation of deficit. Our economic growth is declining. Our exchange rate is becoming very worrying. I'm sure these and many more were the things that the President asked the Minister of Finance together with other monetary authorities to deal with. So if we are doing an assessment of what the person has done, it should not be based on how accessible or otherwise he is to party people. For us, that is not our interest. And becoming a minister does not mean that you are a minister for your party people. You are a minister for the state. And that is why you are being serviced at the expense of the entire state, not at the expense of NDC people or MPP people.
I think you are a politician.
Simply because
I'm not cutting in rudely.
Very much a party person.
I think if you can hear me, sorry.
Person than a party person. I think they are having it wrong.
Right.
Democracy, and in fact, even in our constitution, when you look at the directive principles of state policy, it is very clear that the only sustainable democracy is that which takes care of the well-being of its people. So if you have a situation whereby our minister is working very hard to ensure that the many deficiencies that our economy is facing right now are actually checked and dealt with. And in doing so, he has very little time for party people. People think that he is not performing and he ought to. I think I disagree with them. And I do not think that that is that is the way to make our democracy sustainable.
Right.
Because when we begin to make assessments...
I think... Let me cut in rudely here. I also want to speak to Mr. Abufogo, the national organizer of the CPP. But now, let's look at what is happening now. The political parties campaign throughout the country, promising to work in the interest of the people. When they get into power, what motivates them to work or to decide to work in the interest of the party rather than the state?
It's because of the kind of politics we are practicing in this country. In this country, the system that operates is the winner takes all system. So what it means is that if your party wins, you get to be in power, and every person else is left out. Now, people strive very hard to satisfy, and when you do that, what it means is that you are promoting politics of patronage, and the party as an entity becomes or assumes center stage in the affairs of government. So that you would have to satisfy the government, the party. You would have to satisfy the... Hello?
I to go ahead, I'm listening to you.
Yes, so that you would have to satisfy the party for you to qualify for an appointment. And once you have that situation, it becomes a quid pro quo situation.
Right. So I think so you are arguing that, for instance, a political party that is in government will want to go ahead and spend more than it has budgeted to campaign for an election in order to win.
Exactly the situation. And ministers of finance are forced to actually do such ridiculous expenditures because the person thinks that I owe my position to the party, but for the party and its recommendation, I probably wouldn't have been there. So they tend to have this unreasonable loyalty to the party because they think that, it is the party that recommended me to the president for nomination. And I think that once a party forms a government, I believe that all of us, it does not matter which political party you belong, we need to give government that free hand. We might have contributed to the victory of the president, but we owe it to him and to the state to give him and his government a free hand to operate, especially in the choosing of his ministers, so that when they are doing their jobs, we can assess them professionally and technically. But if we think that party must have a say in who becomes what, at the end of the day, they'll be working for the interest or in the interest of the party more than in the interest of the state. Because at the end of the day, they think that I'll continue to be in power insofar as my party people are happy with me. And I think that, in 2012, without running the risk of bringing Dr. Dufour into this, I think that a lot of the expenditure overruns that we had largely were due to the election. And I'm very confident and very sure that if it were left for Dr. Dufour alone, he wouldn't have done certain things he did. But because there was pressure from party, he had to do certain expenditures. So I strongly am recommending that all political parties, once we help our people to come into government, we can give advice, but let's not be overbearing on our presidents. Let's not try to exercise this overbearing power over our ministers so that they will be free in their minds to do their jobs professionally. Otherwise, they will always be kowtowing to our parties. And for me, it takes away professionalism from them. It takes away the prospects that we would have otherwise enjoyed from them.
Right. Atik Mohammed is a policy analyst of the PNC. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Let me jump to the other line. Abu Fogo is the national organizer of the Convention People's Party. And Mr. Fogo, good evening and thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, good evening and good evening to your cherished viewers.
Right. You have been following the conversation now. If a finance minister is working in the interest of the country, now the party members are simply not happy. If a political party is in power, how do you react to such a situation?
Well, I just want to be this time round in line with what Atik just talked about. You're talking about a government in a political party power that has control and talking about realignment, realignment of the budget, okay, and also trying to stop corruption. Definitely, certain knobs will be tightened up, certain loopholes and holes will be tied that you will not have certain wrong influence. So people who would normally have gotten some cheap money or people who would have used some other tricks to be able to get some money through judgment debt and what have you, definitely they would all be cut off. And that is why you would have people crying that, no, the minister it should be looked at or maybe the minister should be changed. But the issue is that we are complaining. We are talking about corruption. We are talking about people taking some dubious means by going for some judgment debt and what have you. We are talking about ghostness. We are talking about people inflating contract amounts. So it will take only the finance minister and his team to make sure that all these channels are blocked so that we can have value for money, get money and use it for what it's supposed to be used for. So for some of us, we think that the minister, the finance minister, should be left to do his job because they should not expect him to operate like other ministers and they used to maybe operate because we are in a different dispensation. We are an era that everybody is crying about corruption. Everybody is talking about people taking opportunity of their offices to make some money for themselves. And it will only take a man like him to actually listen to the president who wants to stop all these perceptions and all these things that are going on. So for me, they should allow the system, they should allow the minister and the team to do their work.
Abu Fago, thanks so much for speaking to us, national organizer, the Convention People's Party. Now, let me stay on the phone lines. Aminu Dramani is a political scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and he just joined this discussion. Thanks so much for joining us.
Most welcome, and also.
Right. Now, first of all, political parties go onto the campaign platform.
The line is breaking.
It's breaking. Let me try and see.
It's okay now.
It's okay now. Right. Thanks so much for staying there. Now, political parties campaign to voters, asking them that vote for us. When we go sit there, we will see to your interest. There's a party that wins to form a government. Now, when they get into power, whose interest should they see to? That of voters or that of party members?
Thank you very much, and good evening to both your listeners and your viewers. I think that it must always be Ghana first, national interest first. That is why when they are elected, you take an oath and you swear not to your party but to the nation. And therefore, whatever steps you take must be in the interest of the nation. But I think that, excuse my language, it is even commonsensical to say that if you seek national interest first, since political parties form part of the nation, I think that whatever good that comes out of those steps will still trickle down to the political party. But if you go to seek the party interest first, you will be seeking a very narrowed interest. And if you're not even careful, the interest will be so skewed that it will end up benefiting certain individuals, not even the party as a whole, not to even talk of the country. So I think that always it must be national interest first before any other thing, if any.
If we look at the journey so far, starting the democratic journey from 1992, we have seen governments and presidents. Now, the current president is confessing that he's under pressure from his own party to dismiss his finance minister just because, according to his party members, he's working not in the interest of the party, but in the interest of the country. Are we, indeed, from what you told us, do you see political parties working in the interest of Ghana, the journey so far from 92?
It's both yes and no. Certainly you have some of the steps that will be in the interest of the nation, but others will be for the political parties. And in fact, one could even say that most of the time it is to pursue the interests of the party. Now, if you look at what the president has come out to say, it really tells us that the pressure on him is very, very big one. Otherwise, I don't expect the president to come out to say this. For him to come out is something that has been really bothering him, or the pressure on him is so much that he couldn't contain it but had to bring it out. But I'll be very disappointed in the president if he goes ahead to dismiss the finance minister just on the basis that political party members are saying he is not pursuing the interests of the political party or their party. I think that it should rather be a signal to the president to realize, stick with him, see what he's doing if he's not much informed of the processes or the managing finances of this country. For him to realize what the sector is doing. If indeed it is in the interest of the nation, then issues of party interest should be put aside. Today, Ghana, everybody is crying. The president himself has acknowledged that and has encouraged us to bear with him to tighten our belts. Therefore, we don't expect him to listen to political party pressure to sack a minister who is performing just because party members want him out, because he has refused to pursue policies that would benefit the parties and perhaps individuals within the parties and not national interest. I will be very disappointed if he goes ahead to succumb to such a uncalled for pressure.
Do you see the way we practice our politics here, the politics of the winner taking all, as a way of encouraging this form of behavior from party members?
Of course, we didn't be told this. It is because of that. Because we know that once we are in power, everything belongs to us. We don't share anything with anybody. Even if you make suggestions, you bring alternative ways of doing things, if you are not part of us, you are toiling in vain. That has been the character. So I think that, yes, you are right. It is that concept of the winner takes all that is making us feel this way. Otherwise, we should be thinking that because there are others working with us, if we don't do it well and they go out with it, others will get to know, and next time we go to the electorate, they will not listen to us, not to even talk of voting for us.
And you are a political scientist. You think that voters, what should voters do when it comes to a situation like this, where voters are aware that you vote for a party, they go to sit in government, and yet what they do is work for the interest of the party, but not perhaps you, the voter, out there?
Unfortunately, even though we say so many things inform the voter, so many things inform the choice of the voter, we seem to have very short memories. By the time we go into elections, we have forgotten so many things, and we just listen to what they tell us on platform, the flowery language they come to use to us, the sugar-coated words they use to us, and then we succumb to them, and then we go again and vote them. What I think we as electors should do is to put every leader or political party on a weighing scale, measure the performance of the party against whatever happenings that occurred within their period of governance. So we will decide whether to give them the power to continue or to take the power from them and give it to an alternative political party. We should be very critical in assessing our leaders and, for that matter, political parties.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. Amidou Dramani is a political scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology that is talking to me about what the president confessed to Ghanaians, that he is under pressure to dismiss his finance minister. Let me play that particular clip again for you. You might have seen it first on this network. The president confessing that he is under pressure to dismiss his finance minister.
When we are fiscally indisciplined and we create a situation where the deficit goes up, inflation starts to rise, interest rates start to rise, then it affects them adversely. And so sometimes, not really due to their fault, they do government contracts, they do work for government, and we fail to pay them on time, and the banks are running after them, So it's a vicious cycle we need to break, and that is why a lot of the reforms that Seth is carrying out in the finance ministry with regards to the gift miss and making sure that we budget properly and make sure that the MDAs follow budget discipline and all that are issues that we're trying to introduce. But people have been used to the bad old ways for so long that it's very difficult to change their attitudes to see what is happening. I mean, several times they've interceded with me to sack Seth because he's hurting the politics. He doesn't understand the politics, If there's no money, you should go and borrow. As if it were that easy.
So Seth doesn't understand the politics. He has to go and borrow if there's no money. The president is under pressure. All that Seth has done wrong is that he's ensuring that NDAs stick to their budget and the gift miss, government budget to ensure that government system to ensure that accountancy is transparent is what is used at the various structures of the system. We'll get to more on this particular issue later on, but this wraps up the first part of the show. When we come back, we'll get interactive with the lady Gladys. Stay right there. My name is Brian Nanafo. I'm coming back in a moment. And I'm sure this morning when you went to the pump to get your vehicle filled, you paid a little more than what you had paid the previous day. Well, don't worry, prices just went up, and Gladys will tell us more on the interactive segment. Welcome, Gladys.
Thank you, Nana.
Did you pay more today?
I filled my tank yesterday, so I am yet to feel that.
So, okay, you cheated the system.
Well, sometimes you just have to get away with some of these things.
And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be talking about this particular issue.
I am sure. I do not know if it's affected transport fares yet, but we're finding that out if it has or not.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nana. So fuel prices have gone up. I'm sure you know that already. But how much will it affect your transport fares? Let's get interactive right here. My name is Gladys Osei already. You can join in this conversation via our social media platforms, facebook.com/joynewsontv, or you could also send us a tweet, twitter.com/joynewsontv. The handle is @joynewsontv or #JNInteractiveGH. Drop us email through joynewsim@multitvworld.com. So tell us, how affected are you by the fuel prices increase? And let's get interactive right here. So today on social media, we had diverse opinions on this issue, fuel price hikes. The National Petroleum Authority has revised upwards the prices of petroleum products with effect from Thursday, 16 January 2014. And the GPRTU has announced it will increase transport fares very soon. Well, now the details: consumers will pay 6% more for petrol from Thursday, January 16, that is today, 2014, and it will sell at 33, I'm talking about 2 cedis, 33 pesos per liter. So, do the calculation and you know how much exactly you'll be paying for a gallon of fuel. Similarly, the price of kerosene will shoot up by 19%, while liquefied petroleum gas, that's LPG, will now sell at 8 cedis, 73% higher. I'm talking about 8.73% higher per kilogram. Also, gas oil, which presently sells at the pumps at 226 pesos a liter, will now go for 242 pesos per liter. Okay, so let's also look at premix fuel, which is used mainly by fishermen and currently sells at 116 pesos per liter. You'll see no price change. Let's find out what some people have been saying to our cameras about the fuel price hike.
It has really affected me because I used to pay 80 pesos from this place to La Paz, but now I'm paying 1 cedi 20 pesos. And yeah, from lots of places, it has really affected us. So I think we have to do something about it.
I'm a Kumasi based and I school in Accra. So usually I used to pay 25 cedis, and now it's been increased to 30 cedis, which has so many effects.
No, sir.
Have you increased your fare?
No.
And so what were you charging, and are you still charging that?
No, that's already charging normal price. How we charge lose this? Every increase the fare. It's affecting us. When the fuel has gone up, but we are still buying the same high price of fuel, but the same price.
The increasement of the fuel has worried us a lot because now there's no passenger. Even you can patrol like 1 hour, 2 hours without passenger. And even if you go to the station too, you can be at the station like 1 hour before get a load. So the increment of fuel worries us a lot.
The price of the fuel is too much. So one government to do something about it.
And have you increased your fare?
No.
Why?
Because the fare will come out. So we can't do anything about it.
Formerly they used to take 3 cedis, but now they take 4 cedis. From I think the new house to Pentagon. Formerly it was 3 cedis, but now they take 4 cedis. And now from the new house to this area is now 3 cedis.
No, please. I'm just coming from Kaswa to campus here. It's the same old fare that I pay. Yes. So it has not affected it yet. And I'm told that the drivers, as I was coming in the car, that they are not supposed to increase the fares. So.
Oh yeah, it has affected a lot. Yeah, fares I stayed at Medina. From there to Legon, it's just 40 pesos, and now it has been increased. So the fare, I have to pay almost 1 cedi to here before I get to back, and then my salary too is not up to that. So that one there.
Well, so obviously the price hikes is not going down too well with us. Well, but let me take your comments on WhatsApp. Let's see what you have been posting on our WhatsApp. So, Asla Owusua says, Mahama government will kill us. So, okay, so that's coming from Asla. Wes Zahaga says, 2016 is coming. Ah, yeah. All right, so that's Target. Gilbert says, this government. So let's say Kojo Buato says, Ghana, I hope the shuttle and taxi drivers won't increase the prices this semester. Mr. Press, please do something about it for us. Na school for so yeah, okay. School for more bre. Okay, so that's coming from Kojo Buato. Let's see who also puts Newton Jaffet says, hey, Abba, Ghana, Abba. I've added on for you, Newton. Echo says, Ayasemo. That's coming from Echo. Ayasemo. Bright says, good one there, Mr. Muhammad. This is exactly what Ghanaians want. Really, Bright? Are you sounding sarcastic there, Bright? Or you actually mean your words? Kennedy says, we started this year with increase in utilities, now it's fuel. So do these politicians care about we citizens? Okay, so let's see. Nana Safo says, we are tired though. Nana, you are tired, eh? Okay, don't worry, it's a miraculous year. Okay, so let's see. Israel says, we need a stable economy as Ghanaians for a better development. That's coming from Israel. So for now, let me just pause with our WhatsApp comments and cross over to our newsroom where I have on Skype my colleague Abigail Adamako Enchi. She is our business correspondent at Joy News, and I just want to poke her thoughts on the fuel price increase. Hello, Abigail.
Yeah, Gladys.
Thanks for joining us, Abigail.
Thank you.
Have you experienced this fuel increase yet? Hello, Abigail. Okay, so a few challenges with our technology there, but Abigail will definitely come back online. Hello, Abigail, are you back?
Gladys, can you hear me?
Yes, okay, now I can hear you, right, yes. So I was asking you if you have experienced the fuel price increase yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I pay the same price when I was coming to work today. Maybe from tomorrow going, I would experience it. I can tell, since we don't know for sure if the fares are going to go up yet, although there are hints of it going up.
It's the beginning of the year 2014. We are still very much in the early parts of January. Should we be experiencing fuel price increase?
Yes, it shouldn't be surprising to Ghanaians, because I do remember that middle last year, or getting to the end of last year, there were talks of some automatic fuel price adjustments, and so we are expecting these adjustments to, really shore up fuel prices. I'm surprised that some Ghanaians are shocked at this increment, even though it's going to affect pockets and all that. The automatic fuel pricing has taken effect, and so we should expect that prices of petroleum products should be going up. It was instituted to make sure that we do not feel the effect of this pricing, but then it looks like Ghanaians are still not used to the fact that we are experiencing this automatic fuel price adjustments.
So you think to the ordinary Ghanaian, okay, no, let me just ask you, so what do you think this should mean to the ordinary Ghanaian?
Well, it is hard, but looking at the world prices, they're already high, and over time we've been enjoying low prices, and so it's very difficult. But then it's the times that we are in, and so we would have to deal with it. It's just the pricing of transport fares that we have to look at. The fact that fuel prices are automatically adjusted does not mean that every time fares should go up, and so I think the GPRTU should really come clear on the fares. They should educate transport operators, because even if they don't come out, some operators really come out to increase fares, and it's not the best. I think that education is lacking in that regard.
All right, Abigail, thanks for sharing with us your opinion on the fuel price increase. I have been talking to my colleague, Abigail Adomako-Entry. She is on our business desk, and she shared with us her thoughts on the fuel price increase. Now, and easy lies the head that wears the crown. So that is a popular saying. So let's see how it translates into our today's discussion. It's easy for you to judge people when you are not wearing their shoes. Now, let me give you the opportunity to wear their shoes for just a second. If you became a president today, will you increase the price of fuel? Now, let's see how easy your answers will be.
It depends, because you can't just increase it. You have to, certain factors call for increment, yeah, so it depends on why they increased it. If it's for a good cause, then why not? But they can't just increase it anyhow. They have to make us understand the reason why they are increasing it.
This is a very big question. I cannot answer, please.
No, I just want to find out.
Yes, of course. Because it makes economy, make grow, and people can enjoy the economy.
As for me, I will increase, because if I didn't increase, I would worry the government. But we must know how to increase so that it will not worry the poor.
Come again.
When you become a president one day, would you increase the prices of fuel?
No.
Why?
Because many of us no get money. Our country will be poor. We don't get money. So I can't do that.
It depends. It will depend. If there is the need, if the need be for me to.
Yes, what I think is that, the fuel prices, it's such that it's a kind of, it's a union that they can do. So I don't think that it's not coming so much from the government has no much control about it. But the best thing is that the government for some time try to